And thanks, Bill, and welcome to a very special edition of Hannity and Combs. I'm Sean Hannity. Now, over the weekend, I had the privilege of traveling to Iraq along with Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld. Now, it was his final visit to go see the troops before he leaves office, and that's at the end of this week. Now, the trip was so secret that I didn't even tell the staff of this television program that I was going. Now, we began by flying into the Al-Assad Air Force Base, some 180 kilometers west of Baghdad. Secretary Rumsfeld conducted a town hall meeting with the soldiers and some Marines and even a few sailors. He then visited with a Marine fighter attack squadron. Now, we had the chance to visit with some of the troops along the way, and you can see that video, if you're a Fox fan, by the way, by logging on to foxfan.com. We then flew east to the Balad Air Force Base, that's northeast of Baghdad. There, the Secretary met with airmen and medevac crews and visited a hospital with wounded soldiers. And after we left Balad, we flew to Baghdad International Airport, where we boarded helicopters and flew over Baghdad and headed right into the red zone. We met with embedded soldiers who are working along with Iraqi troops in one of the hottest zones in all of Iraq. They told us about the sectarian violence and how the Iraqis are working with our troops in joint efforts to control the area. Then we choppered back to the Green Zone and Camp Victory, where I got a chance for a behind-the-scenes tour of one of Saddam Hussein's palaces. Then on Sunday morning, we boarded our C-17. We flew north to the town of Mosul, where Secretary Rumsfeld held another town hall meeting with soldiers and took some of their questions. I had the chance for my own town hall meeting in the back of the room. After the Secretary was finished speaking, we got some unbelievably candid moments with the troops.
More intellectual, smarter force today. These are soldiers who think on their feet.
We're going to have more of that impromptu town hall meeting a little bit later in the show. First, before we spend the night in Baghdad, I had the chance to speak exclusively with Secretary Rumsfeld. Why don't you come back one more time?
I had been scheduled to come this weekend, and I decided that I wouldn't about, shortly after we announced my departure. And the more I talked to people, the more people said, you simply can't do that. You really should go. That those troops are people you've sent over there and that are risking their lives, and it is important for you to go and say thank you to them. And I began thinking about it hard, and it's a tough question when your successor's named and confirmed, and you have the flow of business. And you say to yourself, well, what should I do, or what should I defer doing, because you don't want to intervene in things that he ought to be doing. But the other day, a former retired general named Gus Paconis came in to see me. He's been chairman of our business board, and Gus said, I've got a son over there, and they want you to come over there, and you should go over there. And I said, by golly, I'll do it.
What happened? How did you had offered your resignation how many times?
Oh, goodness, 3 times, I guess, total. And
what happened this time? Well,
I think that this time, the outcome of the election, just to put it right up on the table, created a situation where I personally believe, and the President agrees, it is better for someone else to be leading this department with that new Congress. And it's better for the military, it's better for the department, and it's better for the administration. And I feel comfortable with that.
And you both, this was a consensus between the two of you?
During the period before the election, it was very clear to me that I felt that way. And I let others know that I felt that way.
The President?
And the way he put it, it was, you've been sending signals. But, no, I feel good about it. I think it's, I hate to not be doing what I've been doing because I care so much about what we've been doing, and I'm convinced what we're doing is right, and that it will ultimately succeed, and that the country needs to better understand it. It has to become more familiar to the people. This is the first war of the 21st century. It's new. It's strange. It doesn't have the benefit of major armies and navies and air forces clashing one with another and an outcome that's clear. There's only so much the military can do. The military can do the military tasks, but ultimately it will take a political solution. But the danger to our country is real. It's present. It's lethal, and it's growing. And that is a hard thing for people to understand because we've been so successful in not having an attack in this country for 5 years. And this president is almost a victim of the success he has had in preventing another attack in our country because people have allowed the nature of the threat to diminish in their minds. And I think that we ought not to. We ought to understand. What was it Winston Churchill said? The gathering storm. It wasn't clear. It was ambiguous. And there were various signals. But by golly, we're in a period where there is a gathering storm. And the threats of chemical and biological and radiation and nuclear weapons are real. The seriousness of these people is unambiguous. And we need to be vigilant.
Have you had an opportunity to read the ISG report?
No. I've skimmed it.
You skimmed it? Okay.
Yeah.
But part of their solution, for example, they offer two ideas. One of them is one that I watched you have a very interesting conversation about embeds and expediting the training of the Iraqi troops along with the American forces guiding them. And you had a great conversation earlier. Mm-hmm. But they talk about, okay, as part of the political solution, negotiate, talk with, discuss issues with Iran and Syria. How do you have a discussion with a man who denies the Holocaust happened and wants to annihilate another country and is seeking nuclear weapons? Do you think that's possible?
I think that your question is an important one. I don't want to be critical of a report that I've not had a chance to read in detail, but I would say that you'd have to ask yourself, why is it that they would want to help us?
Haven't they been fomenting the terror?
They've been contributing to the violence in Iraq. They have been unhelpful. They clearly have agents operating, and they're using funding in this country to not allow it to be successful. And so we're one to decide they wanted to talk to somebody. You would have to first understand, well, why is it you would want to talk to them? Have you decided that there's some reason they would want to have some sort of similarity of interest or commonality of interest? And it's hard in the case, as you point out, when you have leadership in Iran that says what they say, believes what they believe, and behaves the way they're behaving.
Well, more of my exclusive interview with Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld.